in a couple of weeks here.
Man,
I know, ancient, really, but
I'll start planning your eulogy.
talking with people my age about things like Discord or Twitch or things like that makes me feel a lot younger.
Oh, for sure. No, I mean, I'm 32 now, and I feel that way a little bit, where I just have, it's just, I mean, there's going to be something that everybody knows a little bit more about because they're just into that thing.
Right.
But not everything is what the young hip kids are into.
With the cool
And
hip
now, as
kids.
soon as I've said that, obviously anything that I say that I'm knowledgeable about, that's no longer what the young hip kids are into.
Of course.
Like,
Absolutely.
I've immediately exiled that from the what's cool.
The one that is like really clearly to me showing that I am a couple generations, if not, or a generation, if not a couple generations above what's cool and hip, is the phrase "let's go." Like, everybody says, like, let's go, let's go. And I'm like,
absolutely.
I don't want to say that. That doesn't sound.
I have friends who are literally graduated from high school with them, same age as me, who say that, just like not even in like a Twitch. I like will text them, hey, gonna be in Arizona to visit, and let's hang out, and their response will be, let's go. And I'm like, yeah, where do you want to go? Oh, right. Sure.
That's what that means. Oh.
It's just not a phrase that I've picked up on, and it's because I don't spend a lot of time on Twitch. I'm sure if I spent more time on Twitch or in the realm of games that, or like streamers that would say that, I'm sure I'd pick it up. But
and it's something that I do hear a lot, but I still haven't picked up on it. Like, it's just, I don't know why. That's just not happening for me.
Fair enough.
Oh, we should also discuss, by the way, if we get raided, I think that should be the only time that we break podcast to greet raiders and just let them know what's going on, because there are a bunch of people just kind of jumping in and in the middle of the podcast and like, wait, why aren't they saying anything to us? Why aren't they talking to us?
Right.
It's the weirdest thing. Okay, because I have you on my screen right here.
Yes.
And then I also have you being recorded, like tracked by OBS over here. If I have my mouse in Discord, you're normal, you're fine. If I take the mouse out of Discord, you're super choppy, and like it's really. I want to take a little quick video of this, and I'm actually going to post this because this is really weird looking.
Okay.
You look like Max Headroom's having a seizure. And it's
speaking of being old,
right, of outdated references.
Max Headroom. That's the reference.
Man, if you guys don't know who Max Headroom is, in the 80s, like cool CG stuff was brand new. And so there was like a floating head that was supposed to be like AI. But because, again, computers and stuff weren't great at the time, he had like this weird stutter. So he'd be like, Max Headroom. And like he would like glitch and twitch and whatnot.
Like, you know what? So... Let me give you a kind of more recent reference. Would be in the video for Rap God by Eminem. He references it. Like there's video of him where he is supposed to be Max Headroom in that video. No.
Here's what it is. Ready? Here's where everybody will know.
If you've seen that 10-year-old song,
right,
video.
Here's what everybody will know.
Slightly more recent.
We, as nerds, know that the 80s and 90s are super popular, so I'm sure that all of you have seen Back to the Future Part 2. In Back to the Future Part 2, they go to a diner, and in the diner, there is basically, it's Max Headroom, but it's like Michael Jackson and whatever famous people, just a floating head kind of like glitching and whatnot. And that's the future, is all these AI things.
Watching things predict the future is always funny, because once we get there, most of the time the future is kind of the same, just a little bit different.
Right.
It's like you ever see the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix, and it's where he falls in love with the AI. And anyway, it doesn't matter. It's in the future, and it's got like, they've got super fancy AI, but the world basically looks the same, except for like you see a motorcycle here and there that kind of looks fancy. Like, there's just a few little changes, but the world generally doesn't become super futuristic in 12 years, you know?
That's
Like,
that's I think it's the Sixth Day with no, whatever. There's a movie. Maybe it's the first X-Men. It's either the Sixth Day with Arnold Schwarzenegger or the first X-Men movie. Whatever it is, it
yeah,
says
those
like
two movies.
in the distant future, and then it pans in on what looks like a normal suburban house, and that's it. And like everything just looks normal.
It's not X-Men.
No, okay, then I think it's the Sixth Day, and it's like, and they're like little things, that that are high tech, but other than that, it's pretty normal. That's what it actually is.
That's
like.
what, yeah. Technology, just because technology leaps forward doesn't mean we tear down all the buildings and immediately rebuild them and throw all vehicles into the sun and replace them all with like hover cars and stuff.
That's where they
Those
go.
things will still exist.
The sun. That's where they go.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
it's
Also,
future technology. We just throw it in the sun.
this just occurred to me. Also, hey everybody, if you don't know who I'm talking to right now, by the way.
How dare you insinuate somebody doesn't know who I am?
This is Kyle Fox. Kyle Fox is an old friend of mine. He and I actually recorded a video about his church, Eastside. So kind of our typical thing we did on Eastside. We played some Marvel Snap and talked about Eastside Christian Church in Portland. Imago Day East Side. That's what it is.
East Side.
Imago Day East Side. Yeah. And but he and I have been like content creators for a very, very long time. He and I did a Let's Play YouTube channel called Des and Fox Play for a super long time, which that has, I would say back burner, but that's
in the distant past.
Yeah, that's the past. But we have been doing a podcast for a really long time. That was put on hold for a while, but we have both finally found some time to bring it back in every other week for now. But the podcast is called The Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. And we just talk about nerd stuff, but it's not just like, hey, what's cool and hip and happening right now? Like, we talk kind of like about
I like to go in depth.
Yeah, in depth.
That's why we delve deep.
Right, exactly. So with that, our YouTube channel was called Des and Fox Play. And so when we started the podcast, we referred to one another as Des and Fox. And
True.
I see no reason to stop that, because that's just what we do have a podcast audience. They're not massive, but we have a podcast audience.
Fox is literally my last name. So
yeah,
it's
and
not...
Valdez is my last name, and so Des is the last part of that. So we refer to one another as Des and Fox in the podcast, and that's kind of the way that works. Just a heads up there. I answer to both Steve or Des, so if you guys see me in the real world and you say, hey Des, I'll turn around. He say, hey Steve. The problem with saying hey Steve is I'll turn around and so will 17 other guys. So that and Josh, that's the one that I've noticed recently, is there are 150 Steves and Joshes in the world
at all times,
at
any location,
at any given location.
This room that I'm in looks empty. There are hundreds of Steves and Joshes in here right now.
I just wait for a head to pop out of the gift wrap in the background, just be like, hey, what, did you say something? No, it's fine, Josh. Get out of here. Josh Stevenson, get out of here. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the DCEU because there's been some big changes, like new leaders, including James Gunn, as well as old guard being shipped out, like Henry Cavill. We're going to be talking just kind of about what we think is going to come of that, if we think this is a good idea, how we think this will or will not succeed, just different thoughts on that in general. So with all that being said, and just a heads up, for the most part, once we start recording the podcast, because this is going to go up on our podcast, you can, by the way, follow us on Apple, Google Podcasts, the whole nine yards. We're anywhere you get your podcasts, we're there. So you can go back and listen to our backlog as well. But anyway, because of that, we're going to be recording for real. So we will likely not interact with you in the chat until we are done recording. We're not ignoring you, we promise. We're just for the people listening to the podcast later, they won't see what you're typing and really understand what's going on. So yeah. Okay. So Fox, you ready to record here?
Let's do it.
All right. I'm recording.
And so am I. And
okay.
Yep, audio levels look good. Cool.
All right. Let's do our sync here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1,
2,
3,
4.
Today on the Nerdy Gritty, some major changes are coming to the DCEU.
Hey everybody! Oh right, it's been a while.
It's been too long.
It's been a while.
Too long. Been a minute.
And we have a little bit of a different format now, so I didn't know exactly what I was supposed to be doing here, but it's fine. It's the same exact thing as we've done.
Right.
Welcome to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I'm Fox, but I've found out that I'm actually just out as Fox.
Yeah,
in the Nerdy Gritty extended universe.
And replacing Dez is James Gunn. So congratulations, James.
Man.
This is going to be my last time as being Dez.
That's gonna be way better.
It's gonna be so much better.
I'm pumped for that. Yeah.
Hey, before we continue here, we just want to let you podcasters or podcast listeners know out there that we are going to be streaming these now. So I, Des, have talked for a while about a nonprofit ministry I'm going to be starting on helping nerdy folks like us find local churches in their area to plug into. And we have a Twitch page where we stream with local pastors and whatnot. And we're going to be streaming the Nerdy Gritty on there every other week. So right now, you may occasionally hear us reference somebody in chat if we break character or reference a raid or something like that coming in.
I would never break character. I'm a method actor.
He's Daniel Day-Lewis over here.
That's right.
Yeah, and he's actually not Fox, you guys. He is an entirely different human being than everything. It is Daniel Day-Lewis, Mr. Lewis. It's an honor.
He hasn't been in a movie in a couple of years, so
yeah, that makes perfect sense, man. But more importantly, Fox, I do want to let you know that some important things have come. Wait, no, here we go. Have come into the world of gaming. You see, according to an Axios.com article here,
sure.
Some recent lawsuits suggest that some video game cheating could become illegal.
Ooh.
Yes. Okay, so here's basically what's happening right now is that obviously there are the EULAs, the end user license agreements that go on with consoles and systems and
super
software.
long contracts you technically sign when you agree and then to start a game.
Right, absolutely. So you play a game and you cheat, and then you can actually be sued for this. And so that's happening right now. Those are in the process. A bunch of people are getting sued for their cheating, and mostly it's not the cheaters; it's the people who create the cheating software and the cheating whatever that's getting
the enablers. Sure.
Yeah, some of the users are, but mostly it's the creators. But this is happening at such a high rate. We have a scene here: tens and hundreds of thousands of accounts are being hit regularly, and so there is talk of creating laws that will in some way make cheating in video games, or I guess in general breaking EULA, illegal, worthy of some sort of crime. So here's the way we want to start today. The way that we want to begin is discussing what should be the legal punishment for cheating in some particular video.
Death. You shall be hanged by the neck until dead,
dragged into the street,
drawn and quartered. Tickets will be sold for viewing.
I would buy one. I would buy a lot of them.
You would.
No, okay. So here's my first one. Here's my thought. Okay.
Yeah. Now let me hear the real serious answers.
The real serious answers. You're getting zero of those.
Stuff.
Zero of those.
Oh, okay.
You guys. Okay. Here's what we do. Ready? We catch somebody who's been cheating at some sort of FPS, whether it be Call of Duty, Destiny, or even like Fortnite or whatever, right? We let them keep playing. In fact, they have to play now. They have to play for several hours a day, every day. But every single time they play, there is a random amount of lag that is occurring on their account.
Intentional lag.
Sometimes it's like a quarter of a second, but then an hour later it changes to half a second, and then like way later there's no lag at all. But that's only for like 5 minutes, and then it gets back to like a tenth of a second. I remember
not terrible, just infuriating.
And absolutely infuriating.
And it also could be something that happens either way. You don't even know. That's the big punishment. We don't tell you what it is.
Right, exactly.
And so everything that bad happens, you think, is this the punishment?
Remember when we were recording Resident Evil 8, and at one point I decided that I was going to record, like I was going to play through the recording software. I wasn't going directly from the PlayStation to the TV. I was going to play through it. And there was like a half second, maybe not even that much, like a quarter second of delay. And I suddenly became terrible for like 5 episodes. It would be like that.
I have a hard time telling when you're pretty much always terrible. So
yeah, but that's just like a terrible person in general. This was like video game
that's
terrible.
True.
Right. So this would be, that's the punishment for just having lag in that way. Yeah. What do you got, Fox?
I want to go even more specific than just like general like cheating software.
Ooh, okay.
I've got he's 15 months old now. And at some point we're gonna be playing video games together.
Right.
That kid's gonna want a screen peek. We're gonna find some co-op together.
None of that.
And I need some way I'm going to sue him. Like, first things first. When he does that, I will sue him.
Yes, absolutely.
He has to learn, and I'm going to take every possible legal channel I can. I will send him to his room, but I also will bring the full hammer of the law down upon his tiny, adorable head.
Here's the problem with that. He will have
deserved it.
Here's the problem with that.
There's no problem, but sure.
His money that he will have at that point will be your money. So in a way, you will be suing yourself. And so in which case, money will come out of your account, go to the bank, and then return to your account. But at that point, the account that you pulled from will have not lost any money. And therefore, it will have to be pulled from the accounts again to come back around and be deposited. And all of a sudden, you will be suing yourself forever.
I found the infinite money cheat in real life. It's like I typed Rosebud into the command console of the real life Sims instead of just the Sims.
Except for it's not infinite money for you, it's infinite money for the bank who's charging you like 0.5% per transaction, and then there's infinite transactions.
They need money too, all right? They help us every day.
The banks care so much about us.
They need a little, hey, here you go. Good work, everybody.
All right.
Anyway, I'm gonna sue my tiny child.
That's what really the point is here.
Punishment, there's gonna be punishment in the form of go to your room. But also, you
got this.
I'm going to he will anytime he plays a video game the rest of his life. The punishment will be right before any narrative focused game.
Oh no!
Right before the big reveal or the climax of the story. There's gonna be some kind of disk read error or some.
Oh no!
There's going to be a save file corruption every single time right before.
That's the worst.
He could get on YouTube and watch somebody else play it or read the wiki, but that is not the same.
Or
that's not the same.
Right before the key dialogue moment, whatever key line happens, Atreus says, looks like they're calling me Loki or whatever, it's end of God of War Part 1.
Sure.
It freezes for half a second. And then it skips to the second after he says it, just the one thing of dialogue. You don't know
the context,
right? And so you're just talking to somebody later, and all of a sudden they say and Atreus is Loki, and you're like, what? I don't remember that.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, and they're like, that happened at the end. That was the one moment and that will be every single game you play ever.
Forever.
Yes. Okay, Mario Kart cheaters, ready?
Sure.
Guaranteed, every single other person gets a blue shell the moment a 1 pops up on your place.
They don't even have to hit an item block.
So you hit first place and 7 blue shells end up on the line behind you.
Immediately just bombarded.
And once you hit the brakes,
you are blowing up.
Once you hit the brakes and try to go back into second place, they just become mushrooms.
They disappear. Yeah,
and everybody just darts ahead of you. Or stars. They all become stars, and everybody just darts ahead of you, and that's it. So for let's say a year per match, every single match that you cheated on, 1 full year of this happening in Mario Kart. It would be a year of your life where the best you can do is second place.
There will be a new category for best cheater.
Best cheat, right? Yeah.
You were the best, except you cheated one time, and so now you have to be eternal second.
And you come up on stage at the Game Awards, and you get your award, and you're like, I just want to say thank you for, and then all of a sudden everybody starts throwing things at you, like hurling stones,
blue shells.
Yeah, hurling real life blue shells,
Turtle shells painted blue with spikes on them.
just hurling them at you overhand as hard as humanly possible. Oh my goodness. All right, hey Fox, what's going on in the world of news, my friend?
A few things, but there's been a big announcement in the realm of Pokemon.
Ooh,
Obviously,
okay.
Pokemon's huge right now. Still, I mean, it has been since it came out. But one of the funniest things about Pokemon is that since it started, at least the anime with Ash, since it started, Ash has always been 10.
Right.
And has always, like, pretty much always lost the championship.
Right.
That's been kind of a thing. Some people are okay with that. Like, I mean, obviously it's storytelling. You're not gonna, you don't just get to change that. But like, it has been announced though that Ash, his storyline in the anime is coming to an end.
Well, he just became world champion.
He became champion.
Yeah.
And now they're kicking him out of the anime.
Wow, Ash is retiring.
Ash, he's been around for 25 years. He's still 10 years old though. He's got some kind of
age-old joke.
Elixir of youth.
The age-old joke is he is exactly what employers want. He's a 10-year-old with 15 years of experience, like.
Yeah. A 10-year-old who never ages and is always the exact. I mean, he's like the perfect Pokemon, like customer for Nintendo. He's always 10. He's super into Pokemon.
Yeah.
Even if he loses, he's still having a great time.
He loves every second of it.
His whole life is surrounded by Pokemon and into Pokemon, and he never ages out of it. He never gets a job to distract him from playing more Pokemon. He always has enough money. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Well, he is going to be his storyline in the anime will be wrapping up, so to be replaced by who knows.
That's interesting.
Somebody else.
I wonder if they're going to like just check him out forever, or if they will bring him back as like a 25-year-old man. If he just he like at the end of Last Crusade, he he ages all of his years in one moment.
You know what I think would be cool if they start over. They have a new main character. He's 10 years old, and then like at some point he like goes and faces a gym leader, and it's Ash, but he's like 35 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like like an old or like not Fantastic or Final Four, the Elite Four or the Champion or whatever, where it's like older Ash is there,
or whoever the villain is turns out to be Ash, and he used to love Pokemon, but now that he's gotten old and jaded, he just wants the power.
All these new Pokemon suck.
And he's evolved. Yeah, he's a Gen 1 guy.
Ash now has become a Gen 1er. It all went downhill as
he's finally evolved Pikachu into a Raichu.
Yeah.
And he's just ready to wreck face.
Yeah, Pikachu has to be level 50,000 by now.
Right. I can't even imagine what that thing. Okay, so there's that episode of Pokemon, right, where there's that discussion of if Ash wants to use a Power Stone to evolve Pikachu into a Raichu or a Lightning Stone, whatever. Yeah, whatever it is. And there's this question of like, no,
Thunderstone.
I love you. Thank you, Thunderstone. No, I love you for who you are, Pikachu. I won't do that. This suggests that the Pokemon become different beings when they evolve.
Would Pikachu's personality change?
Like, I feel like he's just growing up, isn't he? Or is he not Pikachu anymore? Now he's Raichu. And if that's the case,
there's definitely some existential like writings.
Like, does Squirtle die when he becomes Wartortle?
I mean, the evolutionary process relies on death.
They do say like the word is evolution.
So maybe these stones.
How have I never thought about this?
Power, they in that moment essentially do a compressed time travel where they die thousands, millions of times, and in that time gradually evolve through small mutations into the next version.
I legitimately, I'm like, this to me is the same type of thing when somebody actually stopped to think about that this is all like illegal animal fighting. This is an entire planet that's based on illegal animal fighting.
Think about Pokemon, any aspect of it,
Yeah.
for more than 3 seconds, it makes no sense.
No, it makes sense, and it's all terrible, horrifying
That's
sense.
true. It's
Yeah.
all horrifying. A hellscape.
Speaking of terrible, horrifying hellscapes, Fortnite, it's in the news.
Fun.
Yeah. Hey, Epic Games. I'm got an article here from CNN Business.
Yes. Anytime you see a video game maker or title in a headline on CNN Business, it is not good news.
It's going to be real bad.
They do not want that.
Fortnite maker Epic Games to pay $520 million in record-breaking FTC settlement. So,
excuse me.
Here's what has this is an article, by the way, from the 19th. So, as we're recording 2 days ago, it has come to the point that the FTC, that's the Federal Trade Commission, is realizing that Epic Games' tactics in Fortnite have been predatory and have had the goal of having children spend money without parental consent.
Hey, everybody who's watching this right now or in like a video form, this is my shocked face.
Gasp!
What?
So, yeah, they decided that Fortnite has been specifically predatory, specifically, trying to get money from kids, and that they need to, number one, pay $520 million as in a settlement, as well as a second and separate settlement, another $245 million as refunds to consumers who were allegedly harmed by the interface.
Man.
So we're at around
roughly $750 million.
Yeah, almost $800 million.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Because, like, approaching $1 billion, like a lot of money, because of their predatory tactics and whatnot. Here's what I was reading the article. What I was actually surprised about. This was Epic's statement. No developer creates a game with the intention of ending up here. We accept the agreement because we want Epic to be at the forefront of consumer protection and provide the best example for our players. So their whole thing is saying, look, man, we didn't mean to do this. Like, it wasn't our goal to be predatory. And so now that you're pointing it out,
naturally.
it's just, it's just something that we do.
We don't even have to try.
So they're saying, like, we didn't mean to. So yeah, sure, cool. What I do like about this, though, is it's setting an example to other people. You know who can afford to pay $760 million? Epic Games.
Epic.
They can
maybe
afford
a
to pay.
couple others.
Yeah. So you make Epic pay, $760 million. That is, for anybody, that's a lot of money. But still, you make Epic pay that money, and now every other game is like looking over their shoulder at the rest of their dev team, like, hey guys, do we need to like check some stuff?
Let's do a bit of a review here.
Do we maybe need to double check and make sure that we're not going to get hit with something like this? So, no, I think overall this is a good thing. I like Epic's response to it, but yeah, overall it's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Whatever, they're gonna be fine.
They're gonna be that's true. They're gonna be just fine.
They're gonna be fine.
Anyway, Fox, hey, should we get down to the nitty gritty?
Let's do that.
So recently, there have been a lot of changes coming into the DCEU, most notably of which that in the role, I don't remember what the role is called, but it's basically the Kevin Feige of the DCEU.
Yeah, let's come up with a title. The master of just the director.
The Feige.
Let's just say
no, he's the Feige.
The Feige. There it is.
The director, the head of the DCEU. If you don't know, by the way, the DCEU is the DC Comics, the DC Extended Universe, and it's their films. So
right, they're live action movies.
Right, basically they're MCU, they're Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's the DCEU, and so they used to have, I don't remember who in that place, but they used to have somebody
they
there.
Kind of didn't.
Oh really?
Like it was I don't know if they had a specific person. because I'm looking at some articles here, or looking at articles about this, and there's nobody. There's no like none of them say like, oh, they're replacing so and so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
They simply have like, oh, there was the CEO, there was these people, and now they've hired new people to do this, to play this role.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they've ever actually had a specific Kevin Feige type character.
So, well, okay, and then in that case, they are finally getting something like that, which they desperately need, because
Yes.
trying to marry the tone of Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice and Shazam, like, I don't know how you would blend these two cinema, even though they exist in the same universe. How do you make these things happen together? You know, and or even like Black Adam and Shazam, like that would be, the tone is so different, and they're such different films that, yeah, it'd be kind of rough to get those ideas together. So having somebody to kind of oversee it and make sure that there's a cohesion to everything that's going on is a really brilliant idea. So
it just makes sense.
All that to say, it's James Gunn. James Gunn
and partner somebody named Peter Safran.
Yeah, James Gunn
is the more
notable person. If you don't know, James Gunn is mostly known these days for the Guardians of the Galaxy films, as well as the newest Suicide Squad film, The Suicide Squad. Yeah. And he is really funny. He's a solid director.
He's a good writer.
Well, just overall, what do you think about that choice? James Gunn, Peter Safran taking over in this role of overseeing the DCEU.
See, the interesting thing, Kevin Feige, I mean, obviously is good business kind of guy. Like has made good decisions business wise and like executive style where he knows, let's go here, let's make this decision, let's move here. He also, by a lot of reports, you can look this up, is kind of a walking Marvel encyclopedia.
Oh, interesting.
Like he just knows things. Like he actually, if you look at the credits, I believe it's on the original X-Men movie, the first one way back when, with that came out in the 90s with way back when. He's like an intern or something. Like he's in the credits there.
That's cool.
He's been a part of Marvel movie making, like
from the beginning.
He knows what he's doing. And so for him, it's like, it seems like the perfect decision for Marvel, because he's pretty apparently good at business, as well as knows the characters, knows the storylines already, and has a decent idea of where to go and what to do next, kind of thing. And so it makes sense to me that James Gunn would be somebody they bring on, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, I guess, to me, if James Gunn knows the DC characters or whatever. He knows how to write a story. And if you are like the problem with what DC has done, in my opinion, is that they tried to do everything super fast and didn't really plan anything out. And so you had like Man of Steel and Wonder Woman, and then you tried to do Justice League, or like Batman v Superman. Like you basically just tried to skip to, Infinity War immediately, or the first Avengers, I suppose.
Right.
You just tried to skip to that real quick, and like, oh, we can do this too. Look at our cool movies. And it just didn't really work story-wise, even disregarding your opinions on those movies individually. Like, if you are building up to something, you need to give it plenty of time to build up, which means you need to know how a story works. And James Gunn knows how to write a story. And so I think it makes sense to me that they would hire him to be kind of overarching, like, let's plan out a good story. Let's hit these high notes. Let's hit these low notes overall, Right. So it makes sense to me. It was an interesting choice. I know, I think I've seen that it wasn't their first choice actually, but at the end of the day, we'll see how it works out.
Right. I think, I mean, for those of you who know me, you know that I'm a DC Comics fan. I prefer, as far as the comic books and the characters go, I prefer DC over Marvel, but I'm easily ready to say without question that Marvel movies are better than DC movies. Like, just in my opinion, obviously that's my opinion, but they're better. I just watched Black Adam recently, and the more I think about it, the worse the movie gets. Like, it was laughably bad, and I don't want to just throw shade and like stomp all over Black Adam here, but it was, in my opinion, terrible. Like 2 out of 10 The only redeeming qualities were solid CG and Pierce Brosnan and his Dr. Fate. Other than
Is
that,
CG even a redeeming quality at this point? Like every movie has good CG. It's just a
that's
thing.
not true. I was just watching, maybe not a movie, but I was watching a TV show on
Okay,
HBO Max, and the CG was like, oh woof, come on.
here's what I'll say. Bad CG will definitely be a negative on something, but I don't really register good CG as a positive. It's just what's expected at this point.
Anyway, the Rock was a terrible choice for Black Adam. Black Adam is such a nuanced and important character. Like
Yeah,
he could have so much going for him. The Rock was an awful choice. And all these
very
like
poor choice.
weird Terminator references of like having catchphrases and the little kid trying to teach the mindless killer how to be human is just so dumb. Like
Yep.
poorly done, especially when they tie in this whole reference of like he used to be a father, and so why does he not know how to interact with human beings anymore? I
Yeah,
don't get
I
that.
texted you about this, but I don't understand. There's a repeating joke, maybe, that when he goes into a room, he just crashes through the wall
Right,
instead of like using a door.
he always uses the most direct path, and it just happens to be
But
through a wall mostly.
sure, but why?
Yes. Why?
He was alive the time when he was a normal human. They had doors.
Yeah, I don't get it. Anyway.
He knows how to use a door. He's just being a jerk. Like it's not even like a
just being
character moment.
jerk.
He's just being a jerk. These people, like, you've just ruined their home.
So,
He's being the Kool-Aid man.
except not
Use the
exciting.
door,
He's not
Kool-Aid
there
man.
to quench people's thirst. He's there to quench his like
Bloodlust.
yeah, his bloodlust. That's it. Anyway, again, I did not want this to become a crap on Black Adam time, although it could. I
do.
could go on. I could go on. Anyway,
All right, moving on.
all that to say that with a couple of exceptions, DCEU films have not been great. With a few exceptions, I will admit there have been some great movies. I think the first Wonder Woman movie is spectacular. I love that film.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, all this to say that they need to start over. Like they're at a point that they need to start over. They need cohesion. Trying to
Sure.
go back and say, how can we take what we had and make it good is not going to happen. That you can't start with that bad of a foundation, with that cracked of a foundation,
Right,
and get something good out of it. So all that to say, James Gunn, on the other hand, I don't know if it is the right choice. Number one, you said quite a bit, Kevin Feige is a good businessman, and I agree with that. And that's what is needed in that role. James Gunn's a good director and writer, but is that what they need in that role? And that is an honest question. I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, it comes down to what their goal is. Are they? I mean, I would hope that if you now have good movies and have put together a good story, the good like profit and success will follow. But
and see,
I
here,
mean,
something that Marvel has done that's been very successful is been saying, hey, here's good business tactics. Part of this good business tactic is trusting a writer to do what that writer wants to do with that film. So
sometimes, sure.
So yes, Jon Favreau, you are going to make super quirky, charismatic Iron Man films. Yes, Russo brothers, you're going to make really serious political Captain America films. And yes, James Gunn, you're going to make really comedic, devil may care,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy films, because Kevin Feige was not writing any of these.
Sure.
His goal was to pick writers for these.
Right.
Whereas,
to find the people whose voices would work for the story they wanted to tell.
Whereas James Gunn is a writer. And
That's
therefore, fair. I don't know if he's going to be able to say, you're the correct writer for that. Because he has his own style. He has his own preference. And maybe he's not going to be the right guy to pick people who might be totally different writers than him. I don't know. So, again, when I say I don't know if he's the right choice, I mean that very seriously. And then on top of that, he is a very niche writer.
Yeah. When Guardians of the Galaxy came out, that was his first, like, normal movie. Like, movie that wasn't horribly disgusting.
Right.
But also pretty good.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, Yeah, his style, it's like when Peter Jackson came out with Lord of the Rings.
Exactly that.
Incredibly different from the stuff he had done before. Go look it up. It's weird.
Yeah, he's like high
A big
gore
risk.
horror, right? Before
Yes,
that, yeah.
extremely. Yeah, they're called splatter films.
Right, right. So
But yeah, so it was a big shift for him.
so yeah, James Gunn is very niche. I get that he's super popular right now and super popular in superhero movies, but to me it feels very very much like when DC said we need Joss Whedon. And so they brought in Joss Whedon because he was very
Interesting.
successful in superhero films. And then they got Justice League, which I don't think was as terrible as other people thought it was, but it wasn't great nonetheless.
Wasn't
It
good.
was not great nonetheless.
No, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I do think James Gunn probably has a pretty like he knows what tone is.
Mm-hmm.
Like he knows he's made tonally very very different movies tonally. As far Guardians of the Galaxy is very different than Slither. You know, let's say that they both have a little bit of a sarcastic undercurrent. We'll say,
Right.
but obviously he knows that things should be different depending on what the appropriate tone is, and I don't think that's going to be a big leap for him to say, hey, we're making a Batman movie. The tone we want to hit is this. Let's find a writer who knows what they're doing there, because he's not going to write everything, obviously.
Right, right. It will take somebody who is very aware of their own weaknesses, which with James Gunn almost getting canceled and then him like actively apologizing and talking about it, I feel like that's a sign that he might be aware of his own weaknesses. But if not, if he's got some pride issues, it may be a struggle for him to pick writers that are not similar to him or whatever.
Maybe
So,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that he recently put on Instagram or something, basically a message that said, "Hey, we knew going into this that there's going to be a lot of people who are upset, and we also knew there's going to be people who are upset who also don't communicate their disagreement in a healthy or kind way.
Right.
We just want to let you know we're not going to listen to you."
I love that.
You like he's like he specifically talked about how like just trolling and just like terrible forms of internet communication, they're not going to affect what we talk. Like he'll listen to fans, but he won't listen to fans who are terrible.
Right.
And so like they know what they're getting into. It's going to be fraught if they're going to remain like this online presence. They know what they're getting into. So I think they're looking at it from a pretty good perspective.
I hope so. I obviously very, very much want this to succeed. Again, I personally think that DC's characters are more interesting than Marvel's characters, and that better stories can be told as far as character points are told. So I'm looking forward to that. I really want that to happen. So on that note, though, talking about the characters within these things, another part of the news here is that Henry Cavill is out as Superman.
Yeah.
After leaving The Witcher, for not confirmed, but rumors were, so he could be Superman. After announcing his return as Superman, after being in the mid-credits scene of Black Adam as
literally
Superman,
having a cameo in Black Adam,
then all of a sudden he is out as Superman. His statement was really cool. Basically what he said was, I'm not happy about it. It sucks, but I also understand that when things change, sometimes actors got to change with it, and I get it. It sucks, but I get it. So it was a very cool response on his part there. But overall, what do we think about that? And what direction do you think DC is going?
I think it makes sense to just kind of zero out and restart here. Obviously, they've got things in the works, completed movies that they threw out entirely. I would assume The Flash is pretty much completed at this point.
I sure hope so. I dislike Ezra Miller.
But like, it just makes sense to me that they would kind of just start from the beginning if they're wanting to do that story wise. But as far as like Henry Cavill, like I didn't really like the Man of Steel. I thought was loud and overbearing and not very good. The thing is, my opinion on the movies where he is featured prominently as Superman, I don't really like those movies, but he's not that's not because of Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill's a good actor. It was like they had an interesting idea for how to portray Superman in these. I don't think they did a very good job with writing that very well. But to me, find another actor. That's fine. Like I'm not like, okay, we'll get a new Superman. It'll oh no, there will be 6 Supermen instead of 5 now. Like we're already used to 50 new Batmans every year. What's like, oh no, we'll get a new Superman. What's the problem? At the end of the day, it seems like there are people taking it personally. I guess is
right.
what like when in reality this is just a business decision based on whatever they've decided that he's not the right person for the role going forward because they're making changes. That just makes sense to me. They kind of wasted him in movies that weren't very good, but at the end of the day, now we get a cool Warhammer 40K show with Henry Cavill, and that's going to be fun.
Wait, for real?
Yeah, no, it was announced he is going to be starring in and producing, like executive producing for like on Amazon, a Warhammer 40K
the
TV
dude
show.
Is such a nerd. I love that he's executive producing.
He's super
too.
into it, so like it's going to be interesting, and it probably wouldn't have happened without him. They, Amazon probably saw the news and said, "All right, call him," like immediately.
Leap.
Jeff Bezos himself, his cell phone out.
A solid gold cell phone showed up at Henry Cavill's door and then rang.
Literally, name a number. That's yours.
Name a number.
I don't know.
8? It. No, more. Name a bigger number. 400. Henry money number. A bigger number.
I'm Jeff Bezos. I've got it.
Yeah.
I've got that money. So no, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really. Okay, we'll leave behind somebody else. I don't think there's ever been a DCEU character so like.
Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot is she is Wonder Woman.
I don't see that the same way as I see like if they tried to recast,
RDJ.
Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, some new Iron Man, it'd be like, this is weird. This is a strange recasting. It feels not, even if they're great, it would feel weird. Yeah, maybe Gal Gadot, but everybody else, okay, whatever. It's a new Superman. It's a new Batman. Whatever.
I
don't really care.
I felt better about the Superman stuff than you did. I liked Man of Steel. I thought it was a pretty good movie. It wasn't spectacular, but I thought it was a good film. I think Henry Cavill is a perfect Superman. Like the dude crushes it. For being as British as he portrays the all-American superhero really, really well. But all that being said, you and I kind of joked about this before. Everything he's tied to with it is not great, though.
Right, exactly.
Other than Man of Steel. Man of Steel, again, I enjoyed. I really thought it was a good film. Other than that, everything that he's been in has been mediocre at best.
Yeah.
Not his fault. By no fault of his own. He is a great Superman.
He's not writing any of these movies.
Right. And so, unfortunately, I think it's sad, but again, the right choice. And I feel the same way about Gal Gadot. If they tell her no more Wonder Woman, that would suck. That'd be terrible because she is a perfect Wonder Woman. But they got to start over, man. We're starting from scratch, and I feel like there could be somebody else there. So I feel like we're in a place right now, again, with the DC movies that there does have to be a choice to move forward away from what they've done in the past. Into what they can see in the future. I know there is a lot of talk of continuing the Robert Pattinson Batman and that whole world, that whole universe. There are conversations, whether they're real or not, of crossing over the RPAT Batman and the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. I don't think they should do that. That would be bad. But
that'd be weird.
There are a lot of talks of what could happen in the future. But so here's my
wait, hold on. Timeline wise, Joker took place in like the 70s, and he was already Joaquin Phoenix age, so like what, 50? But Robert Pattinson Batman is modern day.
I'd say the RPAT Batman.
23?
I'd say the RPAT Batman is very much like the Tim Burton films, where it's kind of hard to pin when it is.
He uses a cell phone, doesn't he?
There are cell phones in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, but not the cell phones Batman uses.
I don't know that he uses a cell phone. That's
okay. I will say hey, let's be super generous and just let it be 1994.
Yeah.
When the RPAT's Batman happens, and let's say it's 1975 when Joker
Let's say
started.
it's 1983. Let's say it's a little
What?
bit later.
Okay, fine. Hold on, let me do a quick little research here.
It's a decade. It would
Joaquin.
make Joker like 60.
Yeah, so I would actually now I'm thinking about it, I would love to see
That would be awesome.
a 25-year-old Batman beating up a 60-year-old man.
No, but
I'm gonna take you down, Joker.
okay.
Ah, my hip. I haven't even touched you yet.
No, I turned really fast.
Ah,
I slept
do you have
wrong
any
last
aspirin?
night.
Also, you'll never catch me or whatever. Oh, I need to lie down.
But no, it'd be more of writing for me. It'd be more of the writing of like kind of like with the Riddler, where it's not about punching him. It's about
no, I know.
yeah.
I know. Look,
Anyway,
I just find that
look.
a very funny idea.
Anyway, all that to say, here is the next question.
Yes.
Their probably most popular film, if not successful film to this point, is The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn.
Yes.
That is 100% in universe of the current DCEU.
True.
What do they do with that going forward?
You want to specifically talk about the Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
So I've got an idea for the whole universe.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But like, how does the Suicide Squad play into that? Because Margot Robbie is also, Margot Robbie, I do think, is approaching, if not at RDJ as Iron Man level of she is Harley Quinn.
Hey, we're going to get to see Lady Gaga be Harley Quinn also, and I'm excited for that. Lady Gaga is actually a pretty good actress. So
is she actually going to be Harley Quinn?
Yes, in the sequel, yes, the sequel to the Joker.
I had no idea.
She has been cast as Harley Quinn in the Joker 2, Still Joking.
The musical version. That's
that you might be joking, but
no, I'm not.
Literally confirmed.
Yeah, it's a musical. Yeah,
there's a musical sequel, which that sounds awesome to me. Like no sarcasm.
I'm glad about that.
Pumped.
Because Lady Gaga is a great dramatic actress. I don't know how well she could do comedy, but she's a great dramatic actress,
We'll see,
and therefore the Joker Part 2 is where she should be. So as Harley, I love that casting. Actually, that's really good. Anyway, all that to say though, as far as crazy comedic Harley Quinn,
sure,
Margot Robbie has been crushing it.
She's pretty good. Yeah.
Yes. So how do we, or do they continue that moving into the future?
Well, it just really depends on, are they attempting to reboot everything like in universe, or is this just, don't worry about it, here's a new Superman movie, don't even think about the old ones? Or are they gonna have, some kind of, the universe exploded and this was the new one, this
Flashpoint?
Yeah, see that, I mean, that's obviously not my idea. A million people have had that, it's even whatever, but like there's lots of comic book precedent for like the dark multiverse. Just say that the previous DCEU was a dark universe. In comics, that means they're bad.
Because it is quite literally.
Also, it is literally physically dark in all of those movies. It's hard to see.
There's the meme of the Marvel movies. Lights, camera, action. DC movies. Camera, action.
So, yeah, just blow it all up. Use the Flash movie to say, oh, everything changed. And that's why all the people are younger and have different actors.
Except for some of them. Some of them are still the same.
You just use the Marvel multiverse thing where it's like some people are different, some aren't. We don't have to explain it. It's the multiverse. Don't worry about it. And so now you can have the same exact cast for Suicide Squad, and they can make lots of funny jokes about the multiverse, and you get some Deadpool type humor in there, which would be great, which James Gunn would write really well.
Yeah, he'd be great at that.
So, like, I mean, to me, that seems like the obvious way to go if they're wanting to try to, like, or in the Suicide Squad 2, don't even worry about it. This is now, it's still canon. Don't even think about it. Like, that would be the other, probably more logical way to go about it to me, is just make new movies. Don't even worry about it. Don't try to explain away everything. Just make movies, make them good. and they don't have to connect or or not connect, whatever. If your movie is good, it shouldn't matter whether or not it connects to another movie in universe or in canon or whatever. It really doesn't matter. Just make some new movies that are good.
I guess that's the Batman was not in canon of previous films.
It didn't matter.
Joker
You
not in canon of previous films. Yeah.
And they're both pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't matter. Who cares if it connected or not? The movie stands alone. I'll say it this way. If a movie is bad, it doesn't make it better if it's in canon. Like, that has nothing to do with it.
Okay, that's true, but it does make it more money. Absolutely, it will make it more money if it's in.
Well,
in
sure,
canon.
yes. If we want to talk business wise, more people are going to be attracted to seeing a movie because it connects to, there might be people who saw Black Adam because they knew it was a Shazam, with the wizards and whatnot. Maybe, although the people I went with said they had no idea about that. So
that is the story of Marvel Phase 4. Is there, with a couple of exceptions, well, I'd say probably 3 exceptions, they're all mediocre films. Marvel Phase 4, but I saw every single one of them, and other people are going to watch every single one of them because they're going to be canonical to the Marvel universe.
That's me too, guaranteed.
Yeah,
absolutely. I no shame. I saw them because I've 100% committed myself to seeing all the Marvel stuff. I started with Iron Man but I think you and I went and saw the first Iron Man when it came out, and have not missed one since then. So,
man, remember in Eternals when a giant creature tried to hatch out of the earth and then they never mentioned it again ever?
Yeah, now there's just a big statue in the ocean, and even though
we don't talk about it,
break through every single layer of
Earth's
the earth
crust,
including the crust and the mantle and the core, the earth was fine, and now there's just a cool statue out there. And nobody ever mentioned it. And then at one point, there was another one of those things that just appeared in the sky.
Oh, yeah.
And said, I will be back to judge you, or whatever the crap he said. And nobody mentioned it ever again.
Talks about it ever. There is one point in She-Hulk where somebody's reading a newspaper, and one of the headlines is, "What is that giant hand in the middle of the ocean?" And that's it. That is the only.
Oh, never mind. That works. It paid off. It's fine. It's great. 10 out of 10 movie.
Eternals, man. I can't even with that film. Anyway,
I'm looking forward to see what they do with it, if they do anything else.
I'm looking forward to find out that they're doing nothing with it and that it never gets mentioned again or whatever. That'd be real funny. No, because Mahashira Ali's at the end of it, and so
kind of,
yeah.
So at the end of the day, I personally do not care if the DCEU reboots or whatever. I just like good movies, and I'd love if they start making those. To me, that's the direction that I think they should go in. Is making good movies.
DC's up to this point, their goal has been, all right, we have 2 options here. We can make Academy Award nominees, or I can poop on the ground. Those are our 2 choices. That's it. Nothing else in the middle, guys.
I printed out a few fan scripts off of the internet. I put them in a shredder, and then I glued the pieces back together. Black Adam.
There it is, guys.
There you go, The Rock.
The Rock. My gosh. Anyway, okay. So, where do they go from here altogether? I would say from here, it's a reboot, and I hope it is. I hope that it's a full reboot. I hope they still try to do an extended universe, because more than anything, I think there are some really, really interesting characters that
100%
deserve to be highlighted, even if it's in a TV show, even if it's in whatever. Find a way to make all this a cohesive universe, because DC characters are incredible. I love them.
Start super young. Everybody's super young.
Baby Superman.
Superman's 19. He's got slightly enhanced senses. He's a little more strong, but he's like taken out a street gang in whatever, or whatever, like something super low stakes. Like, you're going to have to deal with power creep. You're going to have to deal with spectacle creep. So start yourself off super easy, super light. Plan for those big, for the dark side to be in 20 years, and start super young. You know what? Here it is. Phase 1, it's DCEU year one. That's a classic like thing that they go back to in the comics well all the time is
Right.
Batman year one, Superman year one. Superman year one was really not very good, but just go with
Batman
like
Year
here's
One was
where
great.
Batman year one is excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's year ones for everybody at this point. So go back to the well. Like start there. Have Wonder Woman's first movie not even leave Themyscira. Have the Green Lantern be out in space. Like don't even try to cross over. Like honestly, take some cues from Marvel.
Yeah.
They started real slow. The first Iron Man movie, he fought bigger Iron Man in the sky. Nobody knew about it. And nothing like it didn't there was no stakes except for this mean guy has an Iron Man suit also. And so I froze him and then I punched him. It was really more about introducing characters and talking like showing us who they are and like that's what you have to focus on because if you try to jump straight to Darkseid is destroying the universe and looking for the anti-life equation 6 movies in, it's going to feel real bad and real rushed and you're not actually going to root for the characters because that's exactly what's happened.
Right. Right. So take it easy, take it light. Even they in the original DCEU, they had this idea that Batman was going to be kind of like a mentor to them, that he was, in his late 40s, early 50s, and everyone else was in their like 30s, 20s even.
Sure.
I like that idea. You could even do that now with R-Pat.
And Terry McGinnis.
Oh, Terry McGinnis would be real cool. But anyway, all this to say, yeah, start it over, y'all. Start from scratch, build something good, build something new, and build something. Here's what it is. Chill. Like,
slow it down.
Chill, slow it down, as well as like, hey, turn up the temperature on your camera, warm up the camera, add some lights, and like, and let people talk normal. Don't make everybody talk like this or like this or like, just hey man, these are about flying guys that shoot lasers out of their eyes. It's gonna be fine. Let's laugh.
Okay
Let's
that
relax
it's a little
bit.
goofy.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean you can't have like important stakes or serious moments or like genuine character growth. I mean, again, Marvel has done that really well in a lot of cases where there are jokes and sometimes those jokes are bad and don't land well and kind of take the air out of the room in a serious moment. And other times you literally are crying because a character you've known for 15 years dies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it feels like this friend you've had for a long time and have seen a whole amount of growth happen with is gone now. And you miss him as you watch more movies, as the characters in those movies do. Like, you genuinely connect to this person and miss them when they're gone. Whereas when Superman died fighting, what's his name?
Darkseid?
Not
Doomsday.
Darkseid. Doomsday. You're like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
that's what happened in the comic, so I'm not surprised. And also, this guy, he's been around for 2 movies.
2 movies.
So
1.5 even. He's dying at the end of his second movie.
Kind of 1.5.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not super bought in on him. Just give it time to breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, those are our thoughts on that. Let's finish out talking about kind of what we've been up to. As we talk about what we've been up to, what we're going to say, as we did before, is, hey, these are our opinions on things. If we really like something that you disliked, that's okay. We're sorry you didn't like it. If we love something, or if we hate something that you loved, that's cool, man. We're glad you liked it. But we're going to give our honest opinions on things anyway. On that note, I am going to start with my favorite thing in the world. Open your hearts, and there he is. I hope someday that we can be friends. Until then, here it is, your update on Ryan Reynolds. For you longtime podcast listeners, you guys know that I'm a big fan of Ryan Reynolds. I like to talk about him a lot. So I watched Spirited, starring Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. It is a new Christmas movie musical that my wife and I got the week-long free subscription to Apple TV Plus just so we could watch this specifically. The whole premise of the film is that the whole Scrooged organization, like the 3 ghosts, whatever, going in and making Scrooge, that has become kind of an afterlife business. They now do this every single year to somebody. They've been doing it for hundreds of years now, and they pick the worst person they can find, and they do this to them with their not having to see the past, present, future, etc., to make them turn into a good person. The Ghost of Christmas Present, though, is starting to get a little like, not as into it, and he tries to get.
He's quiet quitting.
And so Ryan Reynolds is their choice this year. He has been declared a quote unquote unredeemable. He is an unredeemable human being. But
Oh.
to get back into it, Will Ferrell, who is the Ghost of Christmas Present, is saying, "Yeah, that's how I'm going to get back into it, by redeeming an unredeemable. This is how we're going to do this." So, and here's what I'll say: it was very, very good. I
Oh.
loved it. It's hilarious. The music is spectacular. I love they broke the fourth wall a lot as far as being a musical goes. At the very beginning, the first song, they start singing, and somebody says, "Wait, what's going on?" And somebody says, "Oh, the whole thing is like this. It's a musical." And the guy's like, "Wait, what thing?" And they say, "The afterlife. The whole afterlife is a musical." And so that
Okay.
just justifies canonically everybody is actually singing throughout the whole thing. Ryan Reynolds is not.
Technically not a musical.
Yeah, no, it's not a musical. It's
If
just
they know, if they're aware that they're singing, it's
it's not a
technically not a
musical.
musical. It's like
But
Pitch Perfect, not a musical.
the movie is delightful. It's a lot of fun, and it got some really feel good moments as Christmas movies should. Obviously, Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds are hilarious, but both bring really good like heartfelt moments and really sweet personalities to it. So
Hmm.
it's a great film, well worth watching. Here's what I will say: if you are not specifically looking for a feel good Christmas film and you like Ryan Reynolds, I don't know that it's worth subscribing to Apple Plus for. If you are those things like I am, yeah, it is worth getting that free week-long subscription and watching the movie for. It
Well,
is,
you can also watch Ted Lasso, so
yeah,
it's worth it either way, really.
it's a delightful film. I love Spirited. Yeah.
I've been playing a game called Chained Echoes.
Ooh.
So several years ago, 2019, I want to say, maybe even 2018, I was just looking up. I was on Kickstarter, looking at games. Decided to back a game called Chained Echoes. It was just like advertised like a kind of an old school RPG. Blah blah blah. And it looks pretty cool. It's like $15, And it finally came out. Came out just like a week or two ago. A month ago, they, the creator of it, put out an announcement, or when they announced the release date, they said it's coming out this date, and it will be on Game Pass, which I also have. So I was like, well, I'm
Wow.
glad I supported this game, but I could have just played it anyway. I mean, no
Yeah.
regrets. I when you go on Kickstarter, you are not buying a product, you are
You're supporting
supporting
it.
a creator and then getting kind of a reward. If
Yeah.
anyway, that's to say, uh I do actually appreciate, because I got a Switch code for it, so I'm playing it on my Switch,
Oh,
which is the
nice.
perfect way to play it. It is essentially a classic JRPG in the realm of like uh Chrono Trigger, or like a classic like
Secret of Mana?
Secret of Mana kind of thing, or Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Except he was very like, he's like, it very seemed as though the creator, he's like, I love these games, but I'm also not going to go with all the old school tropes that feel out of date now, as far as like the gameplay goes.
Right.
So it's been updated. So there's
Oh,
just some
nice.
like, quick travel whenever you want to certain locations, but you don't have to be at a certain spot or whatever. Like there's just a few things that are, like your health replenishes every time, every battle. At the end of the battle, you don't have to use items or whatever after. There's just things that are better quality of life. Uh, as well as the fact that it looks beautiful. Like it's a very good it's like a love letter to an old school JRPG
Mm-hmm.
that also was willing to say, but let's update it for a modern play style for what people would expect from today. And it also has some cool ideas. The combat's really fun, and there's some fun side quest type things. Like it's been very good to play. It was surprisingly fun. Like I remember backing it thinking, it might not be great, it might be fine. I'm pleasantly surprised by how good it is. So
Nice.
Chained Echoes, I recommend it. It's on Game Pass.
I'm reading a book called King of Scars. This is in the Grishaverse. A while back, I talked about a series of book called Shadow and Bone, which
Oh, okay.
is there's a TV show. Is it Netflix? Yes, a
I
Netflix
think it's
TV
a
show.
Netflix show. Yeah.
It's called Shadow and Bone. And at the time, what I said, and I still believe this, is that the show is spectacular. The show is so good, and the book is okay. You know,
Huh.
it is absolutely a show that is better than the book. The book is definitely a
Rare.
YA aimed toward the 17-year-old, 16-year-old girl, whereas the show is definitely more of a aimed toward a 20-something-year-old couple, you know, people, human being of any age or whatever. There's
Sure.
a lot of like more intrigue, that a lot more political stuff. Anyway, all that to say that after Shadow and Bone trilogy, there were two books in the same universe that were the Six of Crows books, and they were both much better. Still a little bit of the, you know, this is kind of geared toward young women, but this is the next set, and it includes characters from both series before, and these are the books that I've been waiting for. These are the ones that are mostly about the politics of the area, the fallouts, the a little bit of the PTSD that these people are struggling with, the addictions that they're
Hmm.
trying to get over. It is a much more mature look. You know what? Is there still a little bit of romance in there? Yes, but it's actually a lot more welcome because there's a lot more intrigue with it. It's not just which boy is she going to pick. Now it's much more of a hey, she and her and the king have a lot of great chemistry, but he obviously can't marry her because she is the general of his armies, and that is not going to be something that's going to be joining countries together. He should probably marry a princess from another country. Like all of this is being played into a much larger world, and on top of this, there is a lot higher stakes with, you know, entire countries at stake here. They're adding a lot more of a supernatural element to it as well, which is weird for what is essentially Avatar: The Last Airbender in World War One Russia. But yeah, so but there is more supernatural elements to it now, and it's really good. I'm really enjoying it, especially if you've enjoyed the other Grishaverse books. These are my favorite ones so far. I'm just about to finish King of Scars, and then after that is Rule of Wolves, which I'm looking forward
Is
to.
Grisha like the author?
No, Grisha is what they call the benders in this universe. They are Grisha.
Okay.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
people with whatever sort of powers to manipulate wind,
Gotcha.
water, fire, blood, things like that. So
Cool.
yeah.
I also started playing The Witcher 3 again. The next gen update came out.
Oh yeah.
Although it's not next gen. Pet peeve is the phrase next gen is still used for
Current
consoles that have
gen.
been out for several years. Current gen update, I suppose.
It's only been a
Uh,
year, right?
Regardless, they're
Yeah.
out
It's
now.
still yeah, they're
They
here. They're not the
exist.
next. They're here.
They're not the next gen. They exist.
It's like
Anyway,
to me it's like when it's Wednesday and people say next Thursday and they mean tomorrow. Like no. It's the next one.
that's
It's the one
that's
after.
on Thursday.
Yeah.
When you want to go to the next Thursday
Yeah,
in
that's
the line.
it's the one after that.
Yeah, it's the one after that. Anyway, I don't care about graphics. This was just an excuse to like buy it again.
To give CD
It-
Projekt Red more
Well,
money.
I knew it would go on sale, so I had a gift card. It ended up costing me $4.99 to get the complete edition, all the DLC and everything on PlayStation. So I'm playing it again, and going for the platinum, which means I am playing it on Death March, the highest difficulty. And
That's shocking for you. I gotta say, man, that is shocking for you.
well, maybe the highest difficulty, but not going for the platinum. It's kind of my thing. But really, what it means, it's just interesting to go back and play, even though it came out in I think like 2017, maybe 2014. It was before I even moved, so it's been out for a while. Even though it feels like it's not too like it's a very good game and it's not super old, it definitely has demonstrated how RPG mechanics and like even controls have evolved since then. Like I just assumed, and it might have been because the last game I had played to any full extent was God of War. I couldn't. I had to realign my brain to go back to thinking attack is with square and triangle
Mm,
rather than the shoulder buttons.
Right,
Because
right.
before that, the biggest game I had played really in depth was Elden Ring. In like there's been a shift in combat where the
Yeah.
shoulder buttons are now a lot of times the ones that are for the
Or for violence. Shoulder
are for
buttons for violence.
essentially are for the
Shoulder
combat
buttons do
mechanics.
violence. There's a quote. Put that on a nerdy gritty shirt. Shoulder buttons do
are
violence.
for shoulder but guns aren't
Guns
don't
kill people. Shoulder
shoulder
buttons do.
TM. That's a good one. Anyway, it has demonstrated where things have changed, how things have changed in the RPG mechanics, and also it has been just like, okay, I'm playing on the high difficulty. I can't get angry at the game when it's difficult. I did this to myself. Yes, that enemy is level 2 and is literally the first enemy I faced, and it killed me 5 times. But this is my fault. And
That's why. If you guys don't know Fox, he's prone to rage in video games.
I'm a bit of a rage master.
Yeah, and so to hear that, like, for example, when he told me that he beat Celeste with no accessibility stuff, I was shocked. I was genuine, like, are you
high
kidding?
point in my
What?
life.
Are you serious right now? Anyway, all that to say that to find that you're doing this is shocking to me, but I can feel your latent
I
rage.
have to restrain myself. Well, what it really just means is it's actually good that I like played as much of Elden Ring as I did, because it just means I have to be careful.
Yeah.
When I'm doing a battle, I can't just button mash. I have to dodge, I have to attack when it makes sense. I have to prepare with all the different. It really at the end of the day makes you feel a little bit more like a Witcher. Where the idea is that they're going to fight this big enemy, they're going to prepare themselves with their oils and their potions and all those things to, and so you actually have to do that now instead of it being maybe a bonus.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it's super fun to go back into it, as well as the fact that the writing and the storytelling is unparalleled as far as like RPGs go. It's so good. The characters all feel so like realized, even if they are just some side quest character you'll meet for 5 minutes.
Speaking, by the way, of shoulder buttons, Fox and I both played, beat, and platinumed God of War Ragnarok. It's spectacular. I don't think we need to say much more than that. But yeah, I don't think much more needs to be said.
I understand completely that Elden Ring won game of the year.
Yeah,
makes sense to me. No qualms. But for me, it was God of War.
For me, it was still Elden Ring, but God of War was incredible, spectacular. I 10 out of 10, incredible game. 9.8 out of 10. I still had some issues.
There's a few qualms. I agree.
A few qualms. Yeah. The game I'm playing right now is called Eastward. Eastward is a little indie game that is absolutely clearly an homage to Zelda games. Like,
yeah, it came out last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is like this Zelda Link to the Past top-down game where a pixel art game where you are, and that's where the homage ends. The play style is the homage. Everything else is its own little storyline where there's been an apocalyptic event of some sort, and now you live in a city that is underground, and you are what is called a digger. People call each other diggers a lot in this, and it's a little weird. I'm not gonna lie.
So, hello, my digger.
Yeah, it's a little weird. So anyway, you are a digger. But you are known for your combat prowess as a digger, specifically with your frying pan. You have a cast iron frying pan.
You're one of those violent diggers.
Yeah. I don't like this. I don't like where this is going. I do not support any of this.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
So you have a cast iron frying pan that you go out, but they don't even explain this in the game. It's just in the intro cinematic that they show you, the character, walking up into like a cave and finding a girl inside of like this stasis pod underground. And so when the game actually starts, her name is Sam, and you have clearly just been taking care of her for some time. They don't say.
I can't tell you how many times I found girls in stasis pods.
In caves.
In caves.
Right, absolutely. It's Diamond
They wouldn't need to explain that.
Yeah. So when the game starts, you've been taking care of her for a while, and but now she's getting visions of this weird land that is green on the bottom and blue on top, and it's the surface world. And so all this to say that you eventually get like thrown out of town, you get tossed onto the surface, you end up on the surface. It seems like a great place, but then there are some like crazy things going on. Like there's a miasma that kills people that's just going around. The girl herself is connected to this in some way. We've encountered robots that call her mother. We don't know why or what's going on
Cool.
with that.
Cool.
So, the really interesting about this though is that it is episodic, where chapter one will end, and then you'll get a prompt that says, "Do you want to save? Yes. Do you want to continue? Yes." And I have not reached a point yet, but I'm wondering if it's releasing episodically. It feels like each chapter, it feels like it's been releasing episodically in that type of way, because it ends on a cliffhanger every time with some sort of like boss fight or something every time. And if it were being released episodically, it would feel natural in that way. I could see that happening. So I don't know if that's the case, or if it has already released episodically and the game's already complete, and so I'm just able to get through it chapter by chapter. But all this to say, it's super fun. It's really good. It was, up until recently, it had been a perfect game in doing exactly what it needs to do, exactly in the best way possible. We did just get to a point where something's chasing you and you just have to memorize the path or you'll die. And that gets obnoxious and dumb, because it means every single time you get to a new screen, you just got to start over, die a few times, learn the path. Okay, now I get it. And then
That's
you do
frustrating.
it. And it's bad game design. And it was pretty sad for what had been, again, what a perfectly designed game up until that point. But all that to say, I love it. It's well worth playing. It is on Game Pass. If you guys have Game Pass, it is absolutely worth playing. It's really good.
Last thing for me is, so man, 2022 has been the year of books for me. The combination of learning about Libby, which is basically renting audiobooks from the library just through your phone and not having to, it's super convenient. I've listened to so many books, as well as getting a Kindle last Christmas from my employer. I've read a million books, just about. Anyway, one of the ones I finished recently was called The Three Body Problem, which is a Chinese science fiction novel from 5 or 6 years ago, 7, I don't know. It is the first book, science fiction. You know, I've read nonfiction books that I felt like I was not ready for. It's the first fiction book that felt like I was not smart enough to understand this book, but in a good way. It's that kind of thing where it's like, oh, like I'm not sure exactly what's like kind of being made up on the spot here for this book, or if this is just a little farther down the line of already established science and math.
You're not sure where science ends and fiction begins.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And so it's also hard to summarize because the storyline is told kind of out of order. And so if I tell you something that's like it's told non-linearly. So if I tell you like, oh, this happened, and that's like the basis of everything else, you don't learn that until 80% of the way through the book. So I am spoiling it hardcore,
Right.
even though it is foundational. To put it very vaguely, a person
did a thing.
Did science fiction things. Read it. No, let me just tell you, it is a book about.
It is a book.
It is a book that has pages and words. I'm sorry, that's too much. Okay, no. You know what? Here it is. There was a description, a summary that was just like a pull quote that I saw somewhere for it, and I'll just say this. I'll just quote that. It is War of the Worlds for the current generation.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So think alien interaction for 2022.
Got it.
And it was fascinating to read through, because it felt like the line between not fun necessarily, but fictional story and like commentary on social issues and stuff was just like, it was interesting. I'm a little actually intimidated to continue. It's a trilogy of books. I'm a little intimidated to continue because I read this book and then immediately got on Wikipedia to read the summary and got on to like Reddit where, you know, explain it like I'm 5, the subreddit, just to like, okay, okay. So, okay, yeah, right. Like where I had all this stuff in my head and a general idea of the book, and then just needed to lock all the pieces together. And I would say that's not on the book. That's on me, because I'm not a mathematician. So I do recommend reading it, but also if you're not a mathematician, maybe expecting to go and like do some follow-up reading to fully understand at least what is being presented. It was really good, though.
If you guys are just listening to this, you should go to YouTube, Save Point Ministries on YouTube, and watch Fox's face as he's trying to decide what he can and cannot tell you. It's like it's the thinking of a man who is, trying to tell somebody that they smell bad or something like that, but trying to be kind about it. Like this is like how do I say this? Well, that's what I got, Fox.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could talk about a million, but nobody wants to.
Yeah, we haven't podcasted in a long time, so I could talk about a billion other things, but
100%.
I will not. So we just want to first say thank you so much for listening to each and every one of you. To those of you who joined us on the stream, to those of us who are listening later, to those of you who are watching on YouTube, thank you guys for supporting us, for being in communication with us. We want to say a big thank you to Granger for the use of our theme song, All My Friends Have Wi-Fi, and so do most of my neighbors on Dear Sam. Check out Granger, the Granger. They're a band and they're awesome.
Like Hermione.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to be just kind of the new format every other week, generally. The reason why we changed is because Des has this whole thing going on, this Save Point Ministry thing. And also, I mean, I've got a kid who's old enough that he can't just be put, like he's a handful, we'll say that. So I've just had to, he's in daycare now. So it enabled me to have a little more extra time. So all that being said, our new schedule roughly, which could change, is generally going to be every other Wednesday at 9:30 streaming on Save Point Ministries,
twitch.tv/SavePointMin.
SavePointMin. So we would love to have you there, because part of this new format change is a little bit of interaction with the audience that as we're talking in a certain way. So we'd love to have you in there and just hear your hot takes and yell at us when we're wrong, which happens a lot in my general life.
For yours.
So I'm used to
not
it.
Me.
Yeah.
Not me.
No, absolutely not.
Thanks again for listening, guys. And always remember that saved games save lives.
Bye.
And I'm out. I'm done recording.
Same here.
Cool. Awesome. I don't know. Is there anybody in the chat? Hey, chat, you there? No, we got nobody this time. I'm not surprised. Again, we weren't sure if Fox was going to be able to record today. And so I announced that we were recording 7 minutes before we started recording. So I'm not surprised that we didn't get anybody today. So
sure. There was somebody in there for a little while. But...
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Well, hey, so then we'll just go ahead and say, Fox, thanks for recording, man. And to those of you who are watching this later, you're cool. We stream every other Wednesday, but also I'll be streaming with random ministry heads, ministry leaders, things like that as they come by, talking about home churches and whatnot. So come hang out with us.
Yeah.
All that to say.
Thanks for having me in.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.